speaker today is Gabrielle Felici from the California Institute of Integral Studies at Sober College. And the title of her talk is Portraits of Her, Life Stories of Women Healers.
Thank you. So, I'm Gabrielle Felici, and I'm an adjunct faculty member at the California Institute of Integral Studies, which is where I did my dissertation, and also an adjunct faculty member at Georgian Court University in New Jersey, where I teach holistic health studies. That's my passion, holistic health. And I loved your presentation about the nurses. It's phenomenal. This presentation is about my dissertation research, which is very close to my heart. I myself am a holistic healer. I practice massage therapy. I'm a yoga instructor. I studied something called healing touch for 4 years, which is an energy medicine modality which balances the chakras and the energy systems of the body. And I was studying all this and pursuing all this while I was in my doctoral program. And my advisor, my doctoral program was transformative learning, and it's a humanities degree. Said, what is it that you're really passionate about? And I said, what it is that I'm really passionate about is these women that do holistic health. That's what I'm really passionate about. And he said, well, then that should be your dissertation topic. So I didn't really know how to frame it. I knew I wanted to capture their stories because to me, stories have the most power, the most transformative power, the most impact on me. And when I hear your story, it really moves me. And I really wanted to capture that. And I had heard so many amazing stories. So I decided to use a narrative analysis. And I decided to ask a few women who were practicing these holistic methods to tell me their life story. So I sat with each of these women for a couple of hours, like you do with the documentaries, and I asked them, what inspired you to become a healer? What were your experiences of growth and transformation as a healer? What were the obstacles that you had to overcome? You know, what is it that you could pass on to future generations of women who are practicing healing arts that might be useful to them to help them be more successful in their practice? And they told me their stories, and it was just the most phenomenal experience. The introduction to my dissertation says they have been called drummers, dreamers, diviners, seers, oracles, psychics, prostitutes, priestesses, shamans, witches, herbalists, and medicine women, to name a few of their titles. They exist in conjunction with goddess-centered religions that date back thousands of years. They've held positions of power and leadership. They healed countless people with their spirit, prophecy, hands, and herbs. Their stories inspire with the message of ambition, intellect, adversity, and triumph. They have been and continue to be a significant thread in the fabric of our world. They are women healers. And women healers come in all shapes and sizes in the 21st century. They are nurses, they are herbalists, they are massage therapists, they are yoga therapists. They come in a variety of different designs. In my research study, what I did was I looked at all of the literature that preceded our current ideas and understandings about women as healers, and that led me down a spiraling path into goddess-centered religions and the archaeology of artifacts that we found that represented women and fertility rites, and it led me to the witch hunts in the Middle Ages and through all this incredible literature. And as I went through this incredible literature, I found myself changing and transforming and learning about a new identity of myself as a woman and as someone who's practicing healing arts. And I felt that it gave me something to connect to that was different than the images of women in the medical model, you know, being forced into that identity. And it gave me something different from the women that are, you know, presented in the mainstream media. The women that I was investigating in the history and archaeology that I was uncovering gave me new notions about what it meant to be me. And it was very empowering for me to do the literature review. And then what I did was I gathered the stories from the women that I interviewed, and I looked for patterns and themes in the stories that they told me. So many of the women told me stories of personal illnesses that they had gone through. And they had said, you know, I had an experience of breast cancer, or I was recovering from sexual abuse or something like that. And as they would tell me their stories, I would look for patterns and themes among their stories. And I identified 6 themes, which is the sort of meat of my dissertation is these 6 themes. The first theme that I identified was the importance of a support network. One of my participants said make sure you plan plenty of support so you can totally fall apart, totally be in the mess and experience the pain. Because we have to go there in order to get through to the other side. All good teachers say that you can only teach what you know, and you can only take people as far as you've gone. And I've gone a lot of places. I know about sexual abuse, I know about cancer, I know about addiction. I have healed myself, and I've really gone into all those areas. And that's why I know about them. I can relate, I can support someone in those ways. And so many of the women told me that it was their own personal experience that enabled them to hold a space where they could allow other people to do healing, and that they needed support in order to go through these experiences. They needed mentors, friends, family. They needed systems to really support them. The second theme that I identified was multiple ways of learning and self-transformation. I identified that the women were learning in formal classrooms. They were learning informally from their personal experiences. They were learning mindful learning and transformational learning and different kinds of learning. And what they were doing is they were integrating all that, and they continued to evolve as a healer as they were developing their practice and as they were helping other people. And I thought that that was really fascinating because that was something that I was doing as well as I was going through the research process. The third theme that I uncovered was nature. And this is a quote from Deepak Chopra that says, "Each cell of the body harnesses the power and intelligence of nature." One of the things in the holistic model of healing that is pervasive is this idea that every cell of our body has this sentient being, is this energy, and that each cell holds memory, and that each cell holds the potential for healing. And one of the ways that women connected with that was to spend time in nature. Contemplative practices allowed them to clear their minds and help them become more in tune with the healing energies. Nature, as they were growing up, a lot of the women also said that they were able to really feel a relationship and a connection with the things of nature, of trees and animals and the natural elements. And they also identified the body as a part of nature and the body being connected to nature. And they related to the body in that way. So I thought that was all really fascinating and powerful. The fifth theme was energy as a teacher. The most important thing we can know is that the universal life force is present, and we can directly connect with it. It will change everything, improve our health, bring forth inner creativity, and bring us great joy in being alive. This is from Brad Keeney, who's one of the adjunct faculty members at California Institute of Integral Studies, and he spent a lot of time with indigenous healers in different parts of the country, Native American and African, and these amazing indigenous healers. And what I discovered in my research, as well as what he discovered, is that there's something that unites all of us. Like whether you're in New Zealand, or whether you're in South Africa, or whether you're in Peru, one of the things that unites healers is an ability to connect and direct the energy systems of the body, and a knowingness and an awareness that we're made of energy, and that we can manipulate that energy for the benefit of our health. And so that was really powerful learning for me. The integral approach was the way in which the women integrated different methodologies and different practices and different types of learning into the work that they were doing. That was a significant theme that was uncovered. And lastly was this idea of purpose-driven life. There's a wonderful, amazing physician called Rachel Naomi Remen, who teaches in San Francisco, and she wrote a piece called In the Service of Life, which talks about the way in which we can be of more service to people who need healing if we approach it as an act of service and less of an act of helping someone who's suffering or victimized. But if we think of it and frame it in terms of service, we can be more effective. And she says service is an experience of mystery, surrender, and awe. Service is the work of the soul. Service rests on the basic premise that the nature of life is sacred, that life is a holy mystery which has unknown purpose. When we serve, we know we belong to life, and to that purpose, we draw from all of our experiences. Our limitations serve, our wounds serve, even our darkness can serve. And so many of the women that I interviewed for my study and the women that I uncovered in the research felt a calling, felt a sense of purpose to do this healing work, and felt that they were on a purposeful path. And one of the ways that they stayed connected to that path and were able to overcome obstacles was staying really spiritually connected, listening to their inner guidance, having this intrinsic motivation. Some of them described having spiritual God